Anne was a beautiful young woman. But she was also an orphan raised by her grandmother. Her beauty drew the attention of many men in her village, each hoping to win her hand in marriage. But despite the many proposals, Anne turned every one of them down. It wasn't that she didn't want to marry, it was that she felt a deep shame about her body, about who she really was, and had been born a hermaphrodite with both male and female organs. Yet though she looked like a woman on the outside, she felt more like a man. Her female organs didn't function properly, and she could only feel through her male side. This left her in a strange, painful situation, living with the body of a woman but feeling the desires of a man. Whenever she was around other beautiful women, she will feel an attraction to them, much like a man would. But she couldn't approach any of them because to everyone else she was just a woman. If she tried to express her feelings, they would think she was mad. This constant struggle filled Anne's life with sadness and isolation. Her grandmother, who loved her dearly, often noticed her pain. Anne was her only remaining family, and it hurt her to see Anne so alone and troubled. The old woman will often sit beside her granddaughter, quietly worrying about her future. She will wonder, why will the gods curse her like this? How will she ever find happiness trapped in a body that neither fully belongs to a man nor a woman? One evening, as the sun set and cast a warm glow over their small house, Anne sat in her room alone crying. She felt trapped and hopeless, questioning why her life had to be this way. "Why am I like this?" she said softly. "I'm not fully a man, but I'm not truly a woman either. How am I supposed to live like this?" Hearing her quiet cry, Anne's grandmother entered the room and sat down beside her. She put her arms around Anne's shoulders and gently ped her clothes, trying to comfort her. "Please, my child, don't cry," she whispered. "There must be a way forward. We will find it somehow." Anne wiped her tears, looking up at her grandmother. "But what if there isn't? How can I ever find happiness? Grandma, every man who sees me only wants a woman. But I don't even feel like one, and any woman will reject me, thinking I'm mad." Her grandmother took her hands and held them tightly. "Listen to me, Anne," she said, her voice firm but gentle. "You are the last of our family, the only one left to carry on our bloodline. I want you to find a way to marry, but not to a man. You must marry a woman, someone who can help you bring children into this world to carry on our name and family." Her eyes filled with confusion. "How am I supposed to do that? Grandma, any woman I approach will think I am insane. They will slap me or laugh at me." Her grandmother gave her a warm, reassuring smile. "Don't worry, my child. When the time is right, nature will show you the way. These things have a way of unfolding on their own. The right person will come to you when it's time." With her grandmother's words, Anne felt a flicker of hope in her heart. Though she still didn't know how her future will unfold, she held on to her grandmother's promise that one day things might change for the better. One bright afternoon, Anne was walking down the village road when she saw a young woman who immediately caught her eye. The woman was beautiful, with a warm smile that Anne found herself drawn to her. Her name was Tonya. Anne felt an unexpected excitement in her heart, and though nervous, but decided to approach her with a shy smile and greeted Tonya, and introduced herself. "Hello, Tona. My name is Anne. I don't have many friends, and I have been hoping to find someone I could trust, someone I can share my secrets and problems with. I was wondering if you were like to be my friend." Anne was genuine, but deep down, her feelings for Tonya were more complicated. She didn't just want Tonya's friendship, she felt something deeper, something she couldn't easily explain. Tonya, shamed by Anne's kindness, smiled and agreed. "Of course, Anne, I would love to be your friend. You can count on me for anything," she said warmly. She reached out and hugged Anne, sealing their newfound friendship. Anne's heart raced with happiness. She was thrilled that Tonya was willing to be her friend. To Tonya, Anne was just another woman in the village, but in Anne's heart, she felt more like a man, drawn to Tonya in a way that filled her with both joy and nervousness. As they hugged, Anne was overwhelmed by how strongly she felt for Tonya. It was a feeling that both excited and scared her. As they talked, Tonya shared a bit about her life. "I work at the village hospital as a nurse," she said, her eyes shining with pride. "I have always wanted to help people, and being a nurse allows me to do that every day." Anne was overjoyed to learn this about Tonya. She found herself admiring her new friend even more. "You are amazing, Tonya," she said. "Sincerely, it takes a lot of kindness to help people like that." That evening, Anne couldn't wait to get home and tell her grandmother about Tonya. "Grandma," she said excitedly, "I met someone today. Her name is Tonya, and she's wonderful. She works as a nurse at the village hospital. She promised to be my friend and said I could talk to her about anything." Her grandmother listened carefully, sensing Anne's excitement, but also worried. "And did you tell her the truth about yourself? Did you tell her that you were born with both male and female organs?" Anne shook her head. "No, Grandma," she replied softly. "I don't want to scare her away. I want to build our friendship first, to let her know me as a person. Maybe one day, when the time is right, I will be able to tell her everything." Her grandmother sighed but nodded. "Just be careful, my child. I only want you to be happy, but I don't want you to get hurt." From that day on, Anne and Antonia became inseparable. They will meet regularly, spending time together at the village square, near the river or under the shade of the large tree at the edge of town. They share their secrets, their dreams and their worries. Anne will listen as Tonya talked about her work at the hospital, about the joys and challenges of nursing, and about her hopes for the future. For Anne, these moments were both wonderful and bittersweet. She loved every moment she spent with Tonya, but she also knew she was hiding a part of herself, her heart filled with a desire she couldn't fully express. She longed to tell Tonya the truth, but fear held her back. She worried that if Tonya knew she was a hermaphrodite, born with both male and female organs, it will change everything, but still, she held on to the hope that one day Tonya might accept her for who she truly was. As time passed, Tonya grew to care deeply for Anne. She thought of her as her best friend and cherished the bond they shared. Tonya will often tell Anne, "You are the best friend I have ever heard. Anne, I feel like I can trust you with anything." Hearing this always made Anne's heart swell with both happiness and sadness. She longed to respond to tell Tonya how much she cared for her too, but the words never seemed to come out. One evening, as they sat by the river watching the sunset, Tonya looked over at Anne with a soft smile. "Anne, you are such a special person. Sometimes I feel like I have known you forever." Anne smiled back, hiding the heck in her heart. She wanted so badly to tell Tonya the truth about herself, to reveal the feelings she carried inside, but she was scared that, once Tonya knew everything, their friendship will be lost, and so Anne decided to wait a little longer, hoping that time and trust will help her find the right moment. In the meantime, she cherished each moment with Tonya, grateful for the friendship and connection they shared. But deep down she couldn't help but wonder if her secret will one day come between them. For now, Anne held on to hope, dreaming that perhaps one day Tonya might see her, not just as a friend, but as someone she could truly love. One sunny afternoon, Anne and Tonya sat together in a beautiful garden. Surrounded by blooming flowers and the gentle breeze of nature, they laughed and shared their stories, their friendship growing closer with each words. Suddenly, in the middle of a joyful laugh and smile, Anne faded and she collapsed to the ground unconscious. Tonya's heart rised in shock. She knelt beside Anne, shaking her gently and calling her name. When Anne didn't respond, Tonya knew she had to act fast. She called for help, and soon, she and a group of nurses rushed out to the hospital. At the hospital, Tonya stood by anxiously as a team of doctors and nurses worked to revive Anne. Tonya held Anne's hand, whispering words of encouragement, hoping her friend will open her eyes. But as they operate on her, something completely unexpected happened. Anne's male organ suddenly became visible, a shocking sight that left everyone in the room speechless. The nurses and doctors were stunned. Staring in disbelief, a wave of shock passed over Anne as well, and she sat up fully revived, but utterly mortified. What's happening?" one of the nurses stammered, her eyes wide with confusion. The medical team exchanged bewildered glances, and then in one chaotic moment, they all began to panic, rushing out of the room up and down the hospital hallway, shouting, What did we just see? This is unbelievable." Tonya, who was equally shaking, stumbled out of the room, still trying to comprehend what had just happened. Feeling overwhelmed with shame and heartbreak, Anne ran home, tears streaming down her face. She burst through the door and into her grandmother's arms, sobbing as she recounted the incident. "Grandma, I have lost Tonya forever. She saw everything, and now she will never want anything to do with me." Her grandmother held her tightly, stroking her hair in a comforting manner. "My dear child," she said softly, "if Tonya truly loves you, she will return to you. True love sees beyond what is visible to the eye. Have faith, my child. But Grandma, this is too much to hope for." "Anne," said her voice breaking, "how could anyone love someone like me, with both male and female organs?" Her grandmother looked at her with gentle but firm eyes. "Sometimes life brings us trials that feel impossible, but love is a powerful force, my child. Just trust that things will work out as they should." Days later, Anne sat alone in the garden, her mind swelling with doubt and pain. She felt as if her life was forever ruined, that her dreams of love were now hopeless. Tears fell freely as she whispered to the sky, "Why was I made this way? Will I ever find peace?" Just then, an elderly woman appeared beside her. As if out of thin air, she had a wise, ancient look with kind eyes that seemed to hold secrets, my child. The old woman said, Do not despair. You are neither cursed nor ruined. Soon you will smile again." Anne, startled but curiously, looked up. "Who are you?" she asked. "How do you know this?" The old woman gazed at her kindly. "I'm here to help. Tell me, Anne, if you could choose to be fully one, either a man or a woman, which will you choose?" Without hesitation, Anne replied, "I will want to be a man, so I could love Tonya freely as a husband." The old man nodded. "Then your wish shall be granted, but only if Tonya truly loves you. The power of true love will break the bond that holds you between two worlds. If Tonya returns to you with a heart full of love, you will be transformed fully into a man." And with those words, the old man vanished, leaving Anne alone in the garden. Heart racing with a mix of hope and doubt, Anne hurried back home to tell her grandmother about the strange encounter. Her grandmother listened intently, a gentle smile on her face. "See, my child," she said, "I told you to trust in the power of love. Perhaps there is hope after all." Just as Anne finished telling her grandmother the story, there was a knock on the door. Anne's heart skipped a bit as she opened it to see Tonya standing there without a word. Tonya stepped forward and wrapped Anne in a warm hug. "Anne," she whispered, "I don't care what I saw that day. I don't care about anything, except that I love you, I'm here for you, no matter what." At that very moment, Anne felt a powerful surge of energy within her. Suddenly, her body began to transform, her feminine features soften into masculine ones. And she stood taller, feeling stronger and more whole. Anne had become a man, a complete transformation that left both Tonya and Anne's grandmother speechless for a moment. They stood in awe. Then Anne, now a handsome young man, smiled and opened his arms to Tonya. "It's still me, Tonya," he said gently. "I'm here, and I love you, just as much as I always have." Realizing the miracle that had just happened, Tonya and Anne's grandmother ran forward, laughing and crying with joy. They embraced him, overwhelmed by happiness. Finally, Anne was free to live, as he always felt inside, with the love of his life by his side. Soon after, Anne and Antonia married in a beautiful ceremony that the entire village attended. People came from near and far to witness the miracle and to celebrate the love that had defied all odds. Anne and Antonia's wedding was filled with joy, laugh and hope, a day that marked a new beginning. After their marriage, Anne and Antonia lived a happy life filled with love, respect and understanding. Anne's grandmother, proud and content, lived to see her family's lineage continue with honor and joy. She knew her prayers had been answered and her family's future was secured. Moral of the story: true love sees beyond appearance and embraces the heart within. Anne's journey shows us that love, acceptance, and understanding have the power to break barriers and bring transformation in life. We may face challenges that seem impossible, but with faith and the love of those who care for us, we can overcome anything. Thank you so much for watching this beautiful story. Your support means the world to me, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you for being a part of this journey. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I love hearing from you, and if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories just like this one. Your subscription helps me keep creating content for you. Thank you again for your love and support.